an hour of truth for the battered but proud people of the Empire State. From the financial and entertainment epicenter of New York City to the sleeping and empty small cities and towns of upstate, which once bustled with manufacturing, mining, and farming. We all know from inspiration, history, and nature, we deserve a return to the success and growth of generations past, a birthright being squandered by corruption in Albany, and the depredations of an insecure, scheming mountebank posing as governor, who loathes both us and himself. As liberty beckoned to enslaved peoples behind the Iron Curtain via American broadcasts after World War II, we now say, believe, rise, and join us. Welcome to Radio Free New York.
Hey guys, welcome to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister, and I've got Bob Savage here with me.
And another week of nuttiness and a mask for all of us.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. So for those of you who may not know, today is Monday, and this is day... Yeah, I know, isn't that crazy?
Gotta keep track, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, and here's why. Today is day 79. We're almost 80 days into when New York State started shutting down businesses in New York State, telling people that they either couldn't go to work or that their businesses were non-essential and that they couldn't operate. We're approaching 90 days, folks.
Isn't this what prisoners do? When, like when they're in the slammer, they write on the cell wall. They put little hash marks on there for the number of days they've been in stir.
Yeah. No, it's true. I think we're not quite running out of wall space yet, but I mean, 79 days. That's no joke. That's 79 days of businesses not being able to, bring in customers and make sales. That's 79 days of some people still not getting paychecks and still not getting New York State unemployment. That's a long time.
Yeah, for some people, it's 79 days, as you just alluded to, Andrew, with no income because they can't get the unemployment benefits. And what's especially galling about this, too, I don't know if you picked up on this. We had Marge Burns, the 133rd Assembly District person, on another show this morning. We were interviewing her. And what she's finding out from her constituents are people who have just recently applied for unemployment are promptly getting the benefits. But people who applied like back in March are still not getting even any response from the Labor Department.
Yeah. And here's the thing. If you look at, just general overall guidelines for, we'll call it emergency preparedness. They say you're supposed to have 3 months worth of income set aside, 3 months worth of food and water. That's some of that stuff's from FEMA. Some of it's from financial advisors. Guys, we're hitting the 3-month mark. We're almost there.
Yeah, and most people don't have anything like that as far as a reserve is concerned. In fact, somebody, I can't remember who it was, Commerce Department or someone did a survey some time ago that showed that anybody, like 80% of Americans cannot handle a $400 emergency expense.
Yeah. No, it's true. So people are in a bad spot right now. I do have some numbers for you guys since today is Monday. I've been giving you guys kind of the updates on Mondays, so I'll run through them really quick because there's a lot of stuff to talk about today. So first thing is grand total of cases in New York State since it started is now up to 350,000. That's up 15,000 from last week, which is lowering. So about 4 weeks ago, it was 40,000. Then it went down to 30,000. Then 20,000. This past week it was up 15,000. So the cases are coming down for sure. They're coming down. The death count is also starting to slow up. We are at 22.6 thousand deaths right now, and I know there's a lot of question about how many of those deaths are truly COVID deaths. We may never know, or maybe if we do end up actually knowing, it won't be probably for like over a year. But that number is up 1.1 thousand, so 1,100 compared to last week's. I think last week's number was up to 2,400. So it's less than half of last week's numbers. So that looks good too.
Yeah, if you look at the
Um,
hospitalization numbers, they are up, but that's only because last week Headcase, that's who I call Governor Cuomo, Headcase reversed his order mandating that COVID positive patients discharged from hospitals go back to nursing homes. So he very cleverly, showing the instincts that make Cuomo a truly legendary politician. What he did is he just reversed 180 degrees his earlier order. Making people go to the nursing homes, and you couldn't even ask if they were COVID positive. I couldn't test them, and now he's blaming it on the nursing homes, the appalling death toll that resulted from his earlier order.
yeah, and what that is actually doing is that's keeping the hospitalization rate up
It is.
because now these patients are not leaving the hospital.
That's right. But it's a good thing. I mean,
So
the overall effect is great. So now we're not, like forcing these people into nursing homes where they infect other people.
yeah, no, absolutely. And the idea of keeping somebody in the hospital till you know that they're not infectious is not a bad thing. I mean, we don't want people who are infectious wandering around in society and potentially infecting people. Of course, they could self quarantine, but if you live in a nursing home, that's probably not an option. And you should probably not be going to a nursing home if you've been to the hospital and you don't know if you're infectious or not. So kind of slow on the right policy there, but at the very least, it's happening now.
Yeah, just
Um,
5,300 people dead in nursing homes.
y-
Whatever.
yeah, exactly. And it's interesting. I watched Cuomo's his little TV stunt yesterday. I don't know if you got a chance to see that. Cuomo essentially faked a COVID test on his on-air propaganda yesterday.
He faked it?
Well, the process, so he took one on TV to show people how easy and quick and painless it is.
Oh, was that the thing? It's so easy, even a governor can do it? Ha, ha, ha.
Yes, so easy even the governor can do it. But I actually know people who have had to go to the Rochester site and take the COVID test, and I actually have at least one person who videotaped it while she took it. And the process he went through is not the process anybody else that I know went through. So I'll tell you guys what the differences are. He went there. He had somebody else give him the test. Oh, just tip your head back. She popped it in real quick, pulled it out, and said, "Okay, good. Your test is done." That is not the test I've heard and seen other people take.
Well, there's two different tests.
Um,
There's a test for the virus, and then there's a test for the antibodies. The latter one is a blood test where they prick your finger. Is that what you're talking about?
No. So everybody else that I know that's taken the test, nobody's administered the test for them. That might be the case in a hospital setting, but if you go to the drive-up testing centers, which is what Cuomo was marketing, they give you the kit. You have to actually administer the test to yourself.
So that's a
So
nasal swab, right?
yeah. So you have to stick this long thing up your nose, then you have to rotate it fully twice, and then the person outside the vehicle counts down slowly for you. 15, 14, 13, and counts all the way down to 0. You pull it out, you put it in the tube, break off the handle, and then you have to do the other nostril the same way. Um, and everybody that I know that's done it has said it's extremely uncomfortable. Your eyes water, your nose runs, all this stuff. What Cuomo did on air was not what's happening at the testing sites, unless they've changed something within the last few days. He really sugar coated this whole thing, and I bet you if you or I, Bob, if either of us just stuck the swab in our nose and pulled it right out and handed it to the person, they would say, "Nope, sorry, that's not enough. It's got to be rotated and got to be a full 15 seconds. You got to do it again." So I was a little disappointed to see that
So,
because
so
he's,
Cuomo
he's
Cuomo didn't do those things. He didn't put the swab up. He didn't rotate or whatever.
they didn't wait the time that they're making everybody else wait, and they only did one nostril. I couldn't tell because the video quality was kind of poor. I couldn't tell if the person doing it actually rotated it how they instruct people to do. But the other stuff, definitely not. It wasn't 15 seconds. It wasn't self-administered, and they didn't do the second nostril.
Well, I'd volunteer to give Cuomo a nasal swab. I've got a special swab here. It says Black and Decker on it. No, I'm just kidding, folks.
Jeez.
Just kidding. Come on, lighten up.
But this whole thing, and there's some other stuff too that I guess I'll throw out there for you guys to look at right before the break. Cuomo's now marketing his family's products, I guess, during his thing. So I guess so his brother and his brother-in-law helped put together howareyourreally.org, and he spent, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes marketing that. And when we come back, I actually want to talk about how he finally identified that maybe keeping people locked up at home could have some mental health implications. Guys, you're listening to Radio Free New York. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a moment.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
College Assistance Plus has worked with thousands of families, saving them millions of dollars. It can be stressful choosing the right college, but we're here to help. CA Plus will guide you from college visits to college graduation and through every step in between. Each student and family situation is different, and we work to accommodate those specific needs. Call today for a free family meeting, 585-582-1846, or visit collegeassistanceplus.com for more information. College is expensive. College Assistance Plus can help.
A reminder from Abate Monroe County. American bikers aim toward education. Distracted driving is dangerous, so pull over and eat. Don't try to read your mail and newspaper, and stay off your cell phone. Make a mental note to be more alert, making it a habit to expect the unexpected. Remember to look twice. Save a life. Train yourself to watch for motorcycles which are harder to see. Join Abate, and your family will be protected with a free $4,000 accident policy. Ride safe. Ride free. Ride often. Abate. If you ride with us. Google Abate Monroe County.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to Simple Tech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that Simple Tech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at Simple Tech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at Simple Tech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
You're listening to Radio Free New York.
Hey guys, welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. And, I just want to bring up maybe a moment of hypocrisy here. Very often, and by the way, I'm not saying this is right. I'm just saying there's hypocrisy here. Very often the left will attack President Trump for bringing his family into things, whether it's a press release or a press conference or maybe discussing his business from his national platform as president. Well, yesterday, Cuomo did the same thing. Cuomo did this with howareyourreally.org, And he could have I'm not going to say howareyourreally.org doesn't relate to what he was talking about in the press conference. In fact, it totally could have. It totally did. But what he added into there was that his family helped put it together. And sure enough, if you go to the homepage, his brother and his brother-in-law are some of the founders and board members here as a part of this organization. Now, it's my personal opinion that is using a platform created by the voters to market and promote something that could further or benefit your family. And I don't think he should have done that. I think that if he wanted to emphasize that people should go to howareyourreally.org, he should have left his family out of it. He shouldn't have mentioned it. He shouldn't have promoted their success in doing that. It just felt terribly inappropriate to me.
I'm not following this. What is this? What is this purpose of this? Is it a service? Is it a forum? What is it?
So funny you should ask. I went to their website and it was a little unclear to me as well. The way he was promoting it is this idea that he's just now realizing that having people in quarantine without a job, shutting down the economy, telling people that they have to be physically distanced from their friends and family members for almost 3 months, is having mental health implications. Stress is at an all-time high. Depression's at an all-time high. They had a graph showing that many age groups went from they did like a survey, and before COVID-19, about 4% of the population said they were dealing with depression and extremely high stress. Now it's up to like 38% for some age groups.
No surprise.
Huge jump. Yeah,
I can readily believe that, but what's the point?
So the point is he went out, and maybe there's 2 points here. So the first is he's then marketing, well, if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling upset, you need to go to howareyourreally.org and get help with this. So he's pushing people in the direction of his family's organization.
Does the family organization charge for the help?
I'm not sure if they do or if they don't. That was unclear to me, but I can guarantee you if they're not charging, they're fundraising, or what they're probably going to do is ask for government money to cover funding, grants, some subsidies, something like that. That'll unfold later. But the other piece to this that I think is really important to emphasize, weekly, for weeks, the press has been pushing Cuomo during his press conferences saying, don't you think that keeping things shut down is going to have negative effects on people's mental health? Don't you think that it's going to cause problems? Don't you think that people are going to become depressed and more likely to commit suicide? And this whole entire time, Cuomo's saying, it's worth the risk. It's worth the risk. No, I don't think that. People are going to be home. They'll be, all these things in a safe place. Well, now yesterday he said, oh, we're just finding out that this has serious mental health implications. The press has been grilling you on this for weeks. How is this now the first time that you're thinking about this?
Well, once again, these are zero credibility act, I think, as far as most voters are concerned. I mean, even Democrats are rejecting, Andrew's never-ending showboating. So I don't know. I gotta believe that. I thought you were going to tell me that. Yeah. So when you go to this, this site that's hosted by the Cuomo family, they've got this wonderful hand sanitizer that they'll sell you.
Oh yeah, maybe.
They got swag. They got the I Heart Andy T-shirts or whatever.
Yeah, well, and the interesting thing is they're asking people to share their mental health stories, talk about their mental health, that sort of thing, which just sounds like a lot of government data mining to me.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. I would do that on a website hosted by the Cuomos. I tell them all about my personal stuff. Sure, you bet.
Yep. And actually they do have, one of the first things I'm seeing here on their website is a donate button. So there you go.
Donate to what?
To howareyourreally.org.
But what's the purpose? What are the funds used for? What do you get for your donation?
I don't know. You feel warm and fuzzy,
Oh.
like you're making a difference.
It's
Which-
the Andy
which who
Cuomo.
knows?
It's the
Maybe-
Cuomo
maybe they
family.
are.
The Cuomo family tip jar. I love it.
There you go. Yep. So another thing that I think is interesting to bring up. I don't know if you knew this, Bob, because I had no idea. I didn't realize that De Blasio is also doing daily press briefings.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh yes, and,
So I guess-
he's built this Byzantine structure of bureaucracies in New York City, where all the business owners down there, of course, bedeviled by ridiculous taxes and regulations already, and also, can I point out, a declining population thanks to the disastrous stewardship of that city by De Blasio. I like to call him Warren Wilhelm because that's his real name. And so now he's got all these panels, and he's got these armies of inspectors that come out and harass all the business owners to make sure that every little jot and tittle of every executive order that comes from De Blasio's office is slavishly adhered to. In other words, just making life miserable and making it, erecting every possible obstacle to getting promptly reopened in New York. It's horrible.
Yeah. So apparently, what's been going on in New York City, and like I said, I didn't know he was doing daily press conferences, so he's competing with Cuomo, I guess. But the New York Police Department has been arresting people who aren't wearing masks in public. Going out there, if you're not wearing a mask, they've been arresting people. So what happened over the weekend is somebody videotaped the cops arresting somebody for not wearing a mask. And the first thing I'll preface this with is, yeah, she was being pretty disrespectful to the police. I couldn't see in the video what had happened prior. But it's my understanding that the entire confrontation started with her and her daughter not having masks on. And what it sounded like to me watching the video was that she was saying with a mask on her face, she can't breathe. Whether or not that's true, is another story. But there was like 7 or 8 cops there. And when she she certainly got pretty mouthy, and she started trying to kind of like get away and stuff like that. And I mean, they just piled right on top of her. She's yelling she can't breathe. It's kind of interesting because this whole idea of wearing a mask is to prevent yourself and others from getting the virus. Well, I tell you what, you've got, all these officers on top of her and her face smushed against the floor. Man, if there was any coronavirus there, I'm sure it was all over her face at that point. And once again, I want to emphasize, yeah, she was not being respectful to the officers. So I'm not sitting here saying that I'm not grading the actions of the officers because the videos do not always show what was happening. But what I think that the video shows extremely clearly is that this policy was a terrible policy and is putting police officers and regular citizens in a bad situation where bad choices are going to be made.
I didn't understand. I thought that I thought they weren't ticketing or accosting people for not wearing masks.
No, apparently they are. And so this video came out, and De Blasio said, "Oh no, you know what's going to happen." Actually, I've got his quote here. He says, "Absent a serious danger to the public, NYPD will not take enforcement actions for failing to wear face masks." Okay. And then you have Police Commissioner Dermot Shea, which he sent out an email saying, we will keep educating people about the benefits to all of us of individuals wearing face coverings. Moving forward, however, we will no longer issue summons or make arrests for infractions related to face coverings absent of a crime or other violation being committed. So it sounds like this has been happening. This has been going on. It just hasn't been publicized. The media must not be running with it. And up until now, it looks like maybe there wasn't video showing what was going on. So that's the question. I mean, should the police have ever been arresting people for not wearing a face mask in public? What you guys think about that while we take a break? We'll be back in a moment on Radio Free New York.
And thanks very much for your patience. We know that Andrew's been having some connectivity issues in his neighborhood, so he had a little bit of noise in the earlier part of the program. Seems like that's cleared out considerably. We thank you for that. You are listening to Radio Free New York on the WYSL stations in Rochester, WACK, AM and FM in Wayne County, and in the Southern Tier, the Twin Tiers, WENY, The Patriot in Elmira Corning.
Now, more than twice the power. More powerful FM 92.1, FM 95.5 West, and 1040 AM WYSL Avon Rochester.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for today. We'll have areas of rain this morning, tapering to scattered showers this afternoon. Lots of clouds around today. Temperatures in the 50s and low 60s. For tonight, slow clearing will drop into the upper 40s. And on Tuesday, clouds will give way to some sunshine in the 60s. And then some beautiful weather for the rest of the week. I'm Rich Cadelia, WYSL.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovation should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alan Ginsberg of the A.M. Ginsberg Advisory Group. During these troubling times, I want everybody to be careful and healthy. You know as well as I do, we'll get over this COVID virus and the fear that it presents. Generations before us have faced terrible times as well. We're looking forward to the rise of a new day, new hope, and one day closer to the end of the COVID-19. Now is the time to show our true strength for our families, our friends, and ourselves. If you and your family need help, do not be afraid to ask for it. And if you are looking for ways to help others, please do so. To my clients or anyone who have portfolio questions or concerns, please call me at 585-377-4720. Stay safe and continue to practice social distancing.
A.M. Ginsberg Advisory Group, LLC are separate entities, independently owned and operated. A.M. Ginsberg Advisory Group, LLC securities offered through Securities America, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Securities America Advisors, Inc., A.M. Ginsberg Advisory Group, and Securities America are separate entities. As the snow disappears, your lawn and all the winter debris is revealed for all the world to see. Want to save on gas and repairs and have more time with your family this summer? Let Cook's Landscaping and Lawn Mowing take over. Instead of servicing, maintaining, and replacing lawnmowers, string trimmers, and tools, Cook's saves you time and money by mowing your lawn automatically whenever it needs it. Pruning, trimming, and mulching, whatever is needed. Need more extensive landscaping? Cook's does it all. From lawn installation for those new homes to plantings and design. Cook's also does paver patios, walkways, retaining walls, and creative entryways. Also featuring natural rock and fieldstone to welcome visitors to your home or business. Water garden installation too. Don't spend those precious sunny days riding around on a lawn tractor or horsing around with a hedge trimmer. Call Cook's Lawn Mowing and Landscaping and reclaim the nice weather for you and your family. It's affordable and easy. No obligation free estimates from locally owned Cook's Lawn Mowing and Landscaping. 329-8175. 329-8175.
This Saturday, grab the family and head to Stokey Farms for delicious pulled pork barbecue sandwiches on a Kraft bun with crisp coleslaw and salt potatoes. Stokey's sandwiches will make you shout, "It's summer!" Stokey Farms will also have mac and cheese for the kids and their famous apple cider donuts. Pre-order at StokeyFarms.com. Schedule a pickup between 10 to 5 on Saturday. Enter discount code BBQWYSL for $2 off. A portion of the proceeds will go directly to Camp Good Days. Visit StokeyFarms.com.
It's time to reopen Livingston County. We're a group of citizens advocating an immediate end to so-called pause orders, threatening the livelihoods of local business owners and free choice for consumers. We believe all businesses are essential and all workers are essential workers. We urge everyone to support your local small business and small business owners to open back up immediately. Permanent economic losses are far more dangerous than the hyped COVID scare. Reopen Livingston, a group of your concerned neighbors and citizens proud of our freedoms and our Constitution.
As the Word tells us that all things are to be done decently and in order, we all have a desire to be more organized. Get Organized has been helping their clients effectively organize their living spaces with custom closets, pantries, garage storage systems, and more for over 30 years. Get Organized can be reached online at www.closetsrochester.com or by phone at 585-223-3646. Get Organized with closetsrochester.com today.
You're listening to Radio Free New York.
All right, welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. And as we talk about what's going on here in New York, we're talking about policy, we're talking about COVID-19, and we've talked many times on the show about government shutting down businesses and the process to reopen businesses. We actually have a guest caller on the line. We have Deborah Wallace from Reopen Rochester. Deborah, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for you and your friends reaching out and saying that you guys were interested in being on the show. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your organization, what you guys are trying to do, and let's start with that.
Yeah, so we're a grassroots organization, just a bunch of people getting together to try and change the narrative about the shutdown.
Okay, great.
What do you sense the narrative is right now?
I think that, it's really hard to say because we started out with, flatten the curve, and then the goalposts seem to move, and it seems like they keep moving. And so it's hard to say what the goal is, but I feel like the narrative is a lot about government control and not a lot about the freedom for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I think we've kind of lost track of that and gotten to like a fear-based message.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Last week I actually had a virtual Zoom meeting. I've been doing many of them, obviously. I think a lot of us have been. And one of the business owners there kind of stood up in this meeting and said, I'm not going to open my business because Governor Cuomo said that if I do, people are going to die. And I don't want to be responsible for people's deaths. So even if New York reopens and if the Rochester area reopens, I won't. And I think that that's driven by a lot of, I think, misinformation and a lot of fear.
Right. If you look at the statistics, COVID-19 is actually very, very low risk. You're at low risk of contracting it, and you're at low risk of dying from it. You're at low risk of suffering any ill effects, especially people who are under the age of 65 who don't have underlying conditions. And so when we have rallies and protests, people say horrible things like, I hope you get it and die. But the reality is that the best thing that a young, healthy person can do is get it and recover, because that is what gives herd immunity to those people who are at risk.
Right.
So the idea was always to get it. The idea was never to not get it. The idea was to get it, but not all at once. And somehow the conversation has just become everybody's going to die, fear, fear, fear. It's not Ebola.
Yeah, you would think it was from the narrative that you hear from the Cuomo administration. So the governor has aggregated all this power, and he obviously has no intention of relinquishing much of it anytime soon. What exactly are you trying to accomplish specifically with your group?
Well, I think that the governor always makes it sound like what he's saying has been his plan all along. But if you watch really carefully, he does a lot of gaslighting and a lot of backpedaling, but it never looks like backpedaling because he gaslights instead. And what I mean by that is on a Sunday, he'll say, we're not doing a regional reopening, we're all one state. And then on Monday, he has this great idea that we're going to do a regional reopening, pretending that he never said we weren't. And so if you look really carefully at what he says, he is actually backing off a lot. And so our goal as an organization is to make sure that that keeps happening until we are in phase 4 permanently. And what I mean by that is completely open, no restrictions, no new normal, no paranoia, people smiling at each other and being friendly and enjoying their trip to Wegmans. That's our goal.
Awesome. No, that sounds really great. So it sounds like then your organization is working together to put pressure on the state government and the Cuomo administration to be accountable to the things he's saying, point out when he's, not, and get him to backpedal and roll things back. Is that fair summary?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think that the problem that you have when you're manipulative like he is that people get confused, right? They're like, wait, but didn't he say yesterday? No, I must be crazy. And so what we really want to do is say, no, you're not crazy. He is manipulating you. We're going to call him on it and make sure that people feel empowered to take back what's theirs. Our government was set up saying these are unalienable rights, right? Like the government doesn't give them to us. God does. And the government can't take them away. And so let's remind everybody what it means to be American, what it means to have a constitution, tell them how to pressure their government, empower them to speak up for themselves and take the country back.
Yeah, it's also important for us to point out the false choice that all these statists, and, Andrew Cuomo is just a leading one of many of them. I mean, you got Mayor de Blasio in New York, you got Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan, and, Governor Blackface in Virginia. And the choice that they promulgate is if you want to go back to your job, you want to start earning a living, supporting your family, enjoying the freedoms that you are guaranteed by the Bill of Rights, you just want people to die.
Yeah. They're conditioning you to think that wanting your freedom is selfish. And so the idea that, freedom is dangerous, in a sense, that's true. But in a sense that's a decision that we've made as a society to say, listen, maybe you're quote unquote safer when the government is telling you what to do with every move, but that's not a free society. And so our founding fathers decided that they were going to give us dangerous freedom, so to speak. We're not communist. We're not socialist. We're Americans. And there's a reason that our country's great, and it's founded on those freedoms that we have, and we cannot let those be taken away because, as we've seen, we'll never get them back.
By the way, it's very important to bear in mind that this is just the most recent step in a number of government narratives that are based on, you can Google this, by the way, there's a great article online about safetyism. I mean, you can trace this back to the 1970s when we were first ordered to wear seatbelts, motorcyclists having to wear helmets, the great vaccine debate that continues to rage, on and on and on, where you have technocrats basically equating safety to the greater good, and you better get in line and comply. And this is just like a giant version of the same argument.
Right, exactly. And it's more dangerous,
absolutely.
I think, because, yeah.
So one thing I did want to know, I've got at least one or two questions in here. How are you guys empowering people to make this type of change?
Yeah, so they say that eternal vigilance, I don't know who said this, but eternal vigilance is the price of freedom, I think was the quote. And I probably misquoted that. But the idea of kind of watching the elected officials, a lot of people want to be involved, but they just don't know how. And so you say, get on Twitter. Here are the handles of the people in leadership. Look up your elected officials, email them. We're going to do a GoFundMe campaign to put up a billboard. We're going to do a GoFundMe campaign to put out lawn signs. It's essentially a political campaign, right? So we're doing a lot of those same things, but we're doing them about the specific issue. So it's the same things that you would see if somebody was running for office, but we're doing them to change the narrative and to remind everybody that they have power. That we govern, right? Like they need consent of the governed in order to govern, and let's not forget that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I know you're from Reopen Rochester, and it sounds like there are other Reopen organizations popping up throughout the state.
Right. So we have about 2,400 people in our group right now, and we started about 4 weeks ago. So it's grown really, really quickly. Today we put up a billboard on 390 South by the airport, and it says flatten the curves, and it says bankruptcy, suicide, and unemployment, and then it says phase 4 now. And then we have some signs coming later this week. We were able to print about 200 of them. And so, yeah, we've been doing a lot of things like that, telling people, here's a website where you can go and just enter your address and contact all of your elected officials, talk to Mike Mendoza, talk to Adam Bello, talk to Bob Duffy. So we wanted the Rochester one because, it's kind of supposedly now at a regional level, but then also it's easier to engage people locally, right? So you have people that can't just go to Albany, who can't drive to Buffalo. So get them really engaged in their local communities so they can influence their local officials. Like, we're going to have a hard time voting Andrew Cuomo out of office, but we can pretty easily vote Bello out of office, right? Like, if we get Rochester riled up and they think our county executive is not doing a good job, Rochester has about a 50-50 split. It is pretty moderate, right? So these are the people that we could easily get out of office.
Yeah, no,
That's
for
why I
sure.
think
So
that
if somebody was interested in learning more about your organization, where would they go?
Yeah, so you can go to freenynow.com. That's our website. Or you can look for Reopen Rochester on Facebook until Facebook takes it down.
Yeah, that's likely.
Yeah, but for now it's still there, and then we have the website so that if Facebook does shut us down, we are able to communicate with our people about, staying organized, staying active, and taking back our city.
Awesome, very good. So you guys are listening to Deborah Wallace from Reopen Rochester, and you're listening to Radio Free New York. We're going to take a break, guys. We'll be back in a moment.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Aircraft Environmental Systems proudly supports Radio Free New York. Rochester-based leaders in climate simulation chambers for America's R&D laboratories. We're experts in troubleshooting, calibrations, custom designs, and consulting for more than 40 years. Industry pioneers, we created the first ever fleet of temperature, humidity, and altitude test chambers available to rent coast to coast. Trained and trusted by environmental chamber manufacturers, we are ACES. Find us at acesinc.com.
It's time to reopen Livingston County. We're a group of citizens advocating an immediate end to so-called pause orders, threatening the livelihoods of local business owners and free choice for consumers. We believe all businesses are essential and all workers are essential workers. We urge everyone to support your local small business and small business owners to open back up immediately. Permanent economic losses are far more dangerous than the hyped COVID scare. Reopen Livingston, a group of your concerned neighbors and citizens proud of our freedoms and our Constitution.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Radio Free New York.
All right. Welcome back to Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. And we just got off the line with Deborah from Reopen Rochester. It sounds like they're doing some pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, a quick reference back to I had mentioned that danger of safetyism essay. That's at unheard.com. It's an article by Matthew Crawford, and the subtitle is "Grasping Bureaucracies Use Lockdowns as an Excuse to Choke the Human Spirit." It's a great piece.
Wow. Yeah. No, that sounds really good. Now. Earlier in the show, we were talking a little bit about the NYPD, New York Police Department, arresting people for not wearing face masks, and just how it's just a bad policy that put officers in a bad position, puts citizens in a bad position, clearly government overreach. And Bob, I think you had a story from maybe it was Chicago or something like that. I'm trying to remember that you had mentioned. Do you have that story?
Yeah, real quick. This is an illuminating story. Again, it comes from Chicago. It's a little confusing because the name of the church that's involved is the Philadelphia. What is this? The Philadelphia Romanian Church, but it really took place in Chicago. So, Sunday morning, tow trucks descend, not just on churchgoers, but on residents and everybody else, and on a private lot used by parishioners in the suburb, the neighborhood of Philadelphia Romanian Church, in response to its intention to hold services. City tow trucks arrive, yanking the vehicles of every single resident, including numerous elderly people and more than a few nurses coming in from night shifts, impounding them for violation of a sign that got posted Saturday with under 24 hours notice right in the neighborhood. The city closed the private lot that the church used for parishioners, forcing the parishioners to park on the streets, which had been listed as temporary tow zones, to snatch their cars too. So all the residents who even had nothing to do with the church are on the hook for tickets and towing and damages to their cars because, as this, by the way, this is posted by a blog called Second City Cop. They're retired Chicago police officers. We all know how gently city tow drivers are with someone else's property. Isn't that unbelievable? They just went and yanked everybody's cars while they're in church. We prayed for the mayor. It says Philadelphia Romanian Church pastor, what's his name here? I'm missing it. Anyway, this mayor, Lori Lightfoot, we prayed for the mayor and the governor almost every evening since March 19th. We'll continue to pray for them yet. We're also aware of our constitutional rights. Their effort to intimidate us will make us stronger. This is where statism goes, folks.
Yeah, and I tell you what, we hear stories similar to this, maybe not this extreme, but similar to this all across the country, where government in some shape or form, as a response to this virus, has shut down places of worship. And I got to give the churches a lot of credit. Many of them have tried to find ways to still deliver services and allow for physical distancing. And the government has basically said, nope, not good enough. You're not essential. We're going to shut you down.
It's unconstitutional as hell. I mean, come on, First Amendment. People have a right to congregate, and they have a right to worship as they want.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so when I hear the stories of, the one church, I forget where it was. It might have been like Alabama, where they were holding the church services over radio, and the attendees would come in their vehicles. Right, they wouldn't exit their vehicles.
Yeah, Alabama. That happened in New York, by the way, this past weekend. There was a drive-in church, and the church got fined $1,000 because people were sitting in their cars.
And when I hear this sort of thing, I there's a constitutional issue, absolutely.
Huge.
And then there's just a general common sense being human issue, which is you should know that should be okay anyways. Even if it wasn't a constitutional issue. Let's say it was a concert. Let's say people sat in a parking lot, didn't leave their vehicles, and listened to their favorite music artist do a quote-unquote live concert over the radio there. Why? that's not putting anybody at risk. That's not putting anybody at danger. That's getting them out of the house. That's giving them an opportunity to distance from each other, but still have some sort of social feeling in a safe environment. Why would government stand in the way of that? And then you throw in the fact that it's religion and the fact that there's a constitutional issue there, and then it's a huge problem.
Well, they want the only religion to be the state religion, which is essentially freedom from religion, which is also known as atheism or agnosticism, depending on your particular convictions or lack thereof. But that's what it's all about, and you get a real sense of government attitude towards people who are spiritual and people who believe in God, in the fact that the Cuomo administration has classed religious services in with entertainment. That's what their concept of worship is. It's a form of entertainment. Who was it that called it the opiate of the masses? Was that Stalin?
Yeah, probably. I don't know for sure, but what this really shows is government has decided that your rights don't apply here. Your rights don't apply, and government gets to choose for you what is and what is not essential, regardless of the actual safety of that action. And I gotta tell you, most churches, the vast majority of churches and houses of worship, have found a way to deliver their sermons in a safe way. And governments all across the nation are still pounding down on them and giving them a hard time, even though we already have the right to congregate. We already have freedom of association and freedom to gather peacefully. And government has essentially put those rights on hold. And when people have found a way to do it, quote unquote, safely, because once again, the excuse is safety. And that is what I think is the key point here. The excuse is safety. People have found a safe way to do it, and government said, nope, you can't anyways.
Well, you want to talk about being unsafe. Loss of freedom is unsafe. There's this top-down approach that, we can't have any religious services whatsoever, no church, until government decides. First of all, these, ladies and gentlemen, never forget this. All of this phased lockdown thing, maybe we'll have phase 2 in a couple of weeks. None of these are laws. They're not laws. These are executive orders. This is just some guy in a suit behind a big desk, paid for by taxpayers, is telling you can't go to church anymore. There is no consent of the governed going on here. You heard Deborah earlier from Open Up Rochester saying you need to have consent of the governed. That's the justification for the existence of government. We have empowered these people to perform certain functions on our behalf, not to run our lives.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think one of the biggest problems that will come out of this is the fact that government officials, current and future, will look at this time and say, oh, we were able to do it then. We can do it now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you want to talk about the new normal? The more we let them get away with this, that's what the new normal is going to be. I hate that phrase, by the way. I've always hated that phrase, because what that does is it says the new normal, implicit in that phrase, is we accept new conditions for the living of our lives imposed upon us by our government betters. I don't think you do either, Andrew.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm at a loss for words, Bob, when I see what our government officials are doing, and it's going to happen again. And when it happens again, they're going to take a step further and a step further and a step further until it's just absolute power.
We're being tested. They want to see what they can get away with.
Guys, you're listening to Radio Free New York. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow.